In 1963, a team of engineers at North American Aviation faced a problem that would define the next 5 years of their lives. They needed to build a wall. Not just any wall, a wall that would sit between 1.2 million liters of liquid oxygen at minus 183 degrees Celsius and 2.1 million liters of liquid hydrogen at minus 253 degrees Celsius. A wall that separated two fluids that, if they ever touched, would react with the force of a bomb. A wall that had to weigh as little as possible because every kilogram saved in the second stage of the Saturn V was a kilogram that could be sent to the moon. Today, SpaceX uses common bulkheads in Starship. They work. They work so well that nobody talks about them. But that silence hides a story of engineering heroism that took 5 years, 2 structural failures, and 1 catastrophic explosion to get right. This is that story. Let us start with the basic question. Why would you put 2 cryogenic propellants in tanks that share a wall? Why not just keep them separate? The answer is weight. Rocket equation physics is merciless. Every kilogram of structure you add to a stage is a kilogram that does not make it to orbit. The Saturn V's second stage, the S2, was 81 feet tall and 33 feet in diameter. When fully fueled, more than 90% of its mass was propellant. That meant the structure had to be as light as possible. A common bulkhead, a single structure that serves as both the top of the lower tank and the bottom of the upper tank, eliminates the need for 2 separate bulkheads and an intertank structure between them. NASA analysis from the period shows that separate tank bulkheads are 340 kilograms heavier than a common bulkhead designed for the orbiter vehicle. For the Saturn V's second stage, the saving was even more dramatic, 7,900 pounds, or 3.6 tons. But the weight saving comes with costs. The common bulkhead has to handle pressure from both sides. It has to insulate between 2 cryogens with a temperature difference of 70 degrees Celsius. It has to be manufacturable, and it has to be reliable enough that astronauts trust their lives to it. The Saturn V's common bulkhead took 5 years to prove. Here are the 8 reasons why. Reason 1. The insulation problem. Liquid oxygen boils at minus 183 degrees Celsius. Liquid hydrogen boils at minus 253 degrees Celsius. That is a 70-degree difference. If you put those 2 fluids on either side of a metal wall, heat flows from the warmer side to the colder side. That heat flow boils the liquid hydrogen, creating pressure buildup in the tank. The pressure has to be vented, which means you lose propellant. In a launch vehicle where every drop of propellant is carefully accounted for, that loss can be mission-ending. The solution North American Aviation developed was a honeycomb structure. 2 aluminum sheets separated by a core made of phenolic resin, the same material used in early circuit boards. The honeycomb provided structural strength while the phenolic resin acted as an insulator. But developing that honeycomb structure was not simple. The core had to be strong enough to handle the pressure loads. It had to be bonded to both aluminum sheets reliably, and it had to maintain its insulating properties across the entire bulkhead surface without any gaps or voids. Testing this required building full-scale segments and subjecting them to extreme temperature gradients. The manufacturing process involved bonding 3 or more segments at a time in a heat and pressure vessel with fillers installed to position the honeycomb core precisely. Any error in the bonding process meant delamination, and that meant the bulkhead could fail. Reason 2. The structural paradox. A common bulkhead has to handle pressure from both sides, but here's the twist. It doesn't handle the full pressure of each tank independently. It handles the difference between them. As NASA's Structural Analysis Manual explains, the bulkhead feels only the difference between the forward and aft pressures at any given point. This is both a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that if you can balance the loads, the net load is small. The curse is that if something goes wrong, if one tank pressurizes unexpectedly or depressurizes, the bulkhead suddenly experiences a massive load that it was not designed for. The bulkhead must be designed for both burst and collapse pressures. Burst pressure pushes the bulkhead outward, stretching the aluminum sheets. Collapse pressure pushes it inward, which can cause buckling. To maintain stability under collapsing pressure loads, the bulkhead is designed to have a large bending stiffness, compared to a simple membrane bulkhead. This structural paradox drove the engineering team to develop sophisticated analytical tools. They used multi-layered shell of revolution programs that took into account the extensional, shear, and bending stiffnesses in both the hoop and meridional directions of both facing sheets and the core. This was not a problem you could solve with a slide rule. Reason 3. The welding nightmare. The common bulkhead was not a single piece. It was assembled from segments. Each segment had to be precision-formed, then welded together. The manufacturing sequence was complex. Gore segments, the wedge-shaped pieces that make up the spherical dome, had to be stretch-formed, heat-treated, rough-trimmed, aged to T6 temper, deep etch-milled, and anodized. Then they were bonded to the honeycomb core. Then they were welded together along meridian seams. But the welding was not straightforward. The welds had to be done simultaneously on both the inner and outer surfaces to prevent distortion. This required modification of existing welding equipment. The meridian welder had to be reworked to accommodate the greater thickness of the bonded segments and to allow out-of-position welding. One of the most significant challenges was welding the attach rings, the structure that connected the bulkhead to the aft dome. Originally, this was planned to be done on the LO welder, requiring 3,100 man-hours of modification. The team eventually realized it might be simpler to include this capability in the meridian welder instead, avoiding interference with S-IVB production schedules. The welding development test program was delayed by 12 weeks when equipment modifications took longer than expected. The simultaneous welding of sandwich panels was originally scheduled to begin on January 8th, but slipped to April 5th. Reason 4. The COPV parallel. SpaceX uses composite overwrapped pressure vessels in Starship. They store pressure and gases at extremely high pressures. In 2025, a faulty COPV destroyed a Starship upper stage. The common bulkhead faced a similar risk. The welding process created potential defects. The bonding process could introduce voids. The temperature cycling during testing could cause microcracks. But in the 1960s, they did not have non-destructive testing that could reliably detect these defects. They had to develop it. The inspection plan task was established specifically to define inspection requirements and test methods to be used during and after construction. The inspection challenge was compounded by the fact that the bulkhead was a complex sandwich structure. X-ray could see through the aluminum, but could it detect a bonding flaw? Ultrasonic testing existed, but could it distinguish between a void and a normal variation in the honeycomb? Each of these questions required careful study. Reason 5. The testing campaign. North American Aviation built structural test articles to validate the design. The S2-TS-A test structure qualified the common bulkhead for ultimate burst and ultimate collapse. There was no indication of bulkhead debonding. The S2-TS-B test structure was more ambitious. It was installed in the Coca-4 test stand at the Santa Susana Field Laboratory on November 30, 1967. The testing campaign was grueling. July 12, 1968, the forward skirt failed during structural qualification testing during a simulation of maximum flight bending loads and maximum burst pressure. The test was to verify the lightweight forward bulkhead design. August 16th, a replacement forward skirt was delivered. August 21st, a crane operator dropped the replacement forward skirt, causing damage. Repairs took until early September. November 1st, the rebuilt assembly successfully passed ultimate burst and collapse pressure tests on the common bulkhead. November 19th, the stage successfully passed simulation of ultimate flight end of S2 boost conditions, verifying the lightweight forward bulkhead design. December 20th, one day before the first manned launch of a Saturn V vehicle, an explosion destroyed the S2-TS-B stage during preparations for the final test. The investigation revealed that the LH2 forward bulkhead had collapsed due to negative pressure, causing a tank rupture that introduced air to the tank. The air mixed with hydrogen gas being used for chill-down and was ignited. This was not a design flaw, it was a procedural error in testing. Reason 6. The human factor. No discussion of the common bulkhead would be complete without acknowledging the people who built it. Margaret W. Hap Brennecke was the first female welding engineer to work in the Materials and Processes Laboratory at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. Throughout the Saturn era, she made critical decisions on the selection of lightweight, high-strength metals and welding techniques for the huge Saturn stages. Specifically, she provided metallurgical engineering support for solving the problems of obtaining the required heat treatments, cold work, and metallographic structure leading to high strength and reliability in thick aluminum welds of cryogenic fuel tanks. She contributed to research leading to optimal thermal aging treatments for high-strength aluminum alloys. The common bulkhead required innovations in welding that had never been attempted before. The 2219 aluminum alloy used throughout Saturn V was pushed to its limits. The people who developed the welding procedures were not just engineers, they were pioneers. Reason 7. The schedule slip. The Saturn V second-stage common bulkhead development took time. The S2 stage was a parallel development, but the bulkhead itself required 5 years of R&D. Consider this, the program to develop the 18-foot common bulkhead faced a schedule slip of 12 weeks just in the early manufacturing phase. The welder modification equipment from Saikia Brothers was delayed, pushing the start of panel welding from January 8th to April 5th. And that was just one task. The manufacturing plan, the inspection plan, the design of the full-scale bulkhead, the Meridian welder modification, each of these had its own critical path. Each of these had its own delays. By December 20th, 1968, one day before Apollo 8 launched the first humans to orbit the moon, the S2-TS-B test stage was destroyed in an explosion. The investigation took until January 1969. Changes were then implemented on subsequent flight stages. The common bulkhead was proven, but it took 5 years from initial concept to flight qualification. Reason 8. The weight savings justified everything. Why did NASA endure all of this? Why spend 5 years solving the welding problems, the insulation problems, the structural paradoxes, the testing failures? The answer is in the numbers. NASA's analysis shows that a common bulkhead design is not only lighter, it costs less to fabricate. For the orbiter vehicle studied, the cost for fabricating one common bulkhead was found to be less than the cost for 2 separate bulkheads plus intertank structure. There are fewer parts, fewer welds, and fewer pounds of structure. The weight saving on the Saturn V's second stage was 7,900 pounds, 3.6 tons. That might not sound like much, but in the context of the Apollo program, it was transformative. The total payload capacity to translunar injection was about 48,000 kilograms. Saving 3,600 kilograms in the second stage translated to additional payload or additional mission capability. A separate bulkhead design would have required resizing the system to regain the lost payload capability. At a cost of $61,800 per kilogram, the total program cost increase was estimated at $30.95 million in 1970 dollars. The common bulkhead was the right choice, but proving it took 5 years, 2 structural failures, 1 catastrophic explosion, and a team of engineers who refused to give up. The modern application. Starship. SpaceX uses common bulkheads in Starship. The company's upper stage uses a common bulkhead between the liquid oxygen and methane tanks, similar in concept to what North American Aviation developed for the Saturn V. Why does it work for SpaceX? The short answer is that the company had the benefit of 50 years of technology development. Modern welding techniques, advanced non-destructive testing, and computational design tools make the common bulkhead easier to develop and manufacture. But the physics is the same. The fundamental reasons the common bulkhead works, fewer parts, fewer welds, less weight, are unchanged. As one industry observer noted, for intertanks it's more efficient to use a common bulkhead. SpaceX's use of liquid oxygen and methane also simplifies things. The temperature difference between the propellants is less extreme than the oxygen-hydrogen pair used in Saturn V. However, there is one area where Starship's common bulkhead faces a similar challenge. The propellants must be separated physically and thermally. SpaceX has developed its own version of the honeycomb insulation, using advanced materials that did not exist in the 1960s. The common bulkhead is a lesson in engineering patience. When NASA needed to save 7,900 pounds, they did not just design a new bulkhead and fly it. They spent 5 years developing the manufacturing techniques. They built test articles and broke them. They developed inspection methods from scratch. They lost a test stage in an explosion one day before Apollo 8 launched. SpaceX benefits from that investment today. The company did not have to rediscover the welding techniques. It did not have to develop the honeycomb bonding process. It did not have to learn, through catastrophic failure, the procedural errors that can destroy a test stage. But SpaceX also has to solve its own problems. The common bulkhead in Starship faces different loads, different temperatures, and a different manufacturing environment. The company is developing new materials, new welding processes, and new inspection techniques. The question is not whether common bulkheads work. They do. The question is how much time it takes to prove that a specific implementation of a proven concept actually works for your vehicle. For the Saturn V, that time was 5 years. For Starship, the clock is still ticking. The common bulkhead is not glamorous. It does not generate headlines. It does not explode in spectacular fireballs. It is just a wall. But that wall was the difference between a rocket that could reach the moon and a rocket that could not. It was the difference between a design that worked and a design that was too heavy to fly. It was the difference between Apollo 11 and a program that never left Earth orbit. SpaceX has its own common bulkhead. It works. But behind that simple statement, "it works," lies the accumulated knowledge of 5 years of testing, of failures learned, of engineering problems that someone else solved. The cost of that knowledge was enormous, and it was worth every penny.